game time. Game time. Game time. We winning, we winning, we winning, we winning. It's game time. Game time.
Welcome back to Gametime Greatness Season 11, the very first episode. I'm your co-host, Jake Vassar.
And I'm your co-host, Jackson Jarvis.
We have a lot to get through, so we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to start with some life updates. Jackson.
So first things first, we had a few members of the league get engaged in the off season. So I'd like to give a personal shout out to Zach, Matt, and Ethan. Congrats. The weddings are coming up here pretty soon. So congratulations to them, as well as on the same topic of engagements, a step above an engagement, Holmes actually got married to Jade back in June. So shout out to them. They moved to Coppell and are both living there, seeming to do very well. So, Jake?
Big question there is, are those 4 moves business decisions for the fantasy league? Who knows?
100%. They are.
Yeah.
They are. They knew what they were doing and the timing about everything.
Yeah.
So
other news from the time the season ended to now, Brandon moved to Florida. He got a promotion. CC also got a promotion, but he did not move, thankfully. And then Cole Bennett also moved to DFW for a new job. Mike just completely turned his life around in 2020 and still doing that. Really proud of him. I graduated, but I'm still in school. I'm doing my master's, and then...
Yeah, so I graduate in May. Me and Jake are holding up the caboose here in College Station. I'm looking for a job in Dallas currently, so just trying to get moved along with that. And we have actually breaking news as of about this week. Jake, what happened this week?
Huge news. We have an air in the oven. A great quote from Brandon Scott. And Noah, congratulations on... Honestly, I didn't check a gender. I don't know if they know the gender yet, but I think it's going to be a boy. So.
Multiple sources around the league are speculating that the name for Noah's I don't know if it's a girl or a guy.
It's a son. We're
son?
saying it's a son. Sorry, Laura.
Word on the street that a potential name in the future is Cole Bennett Dunsmore. So we'll just have to see what happens when
CB Daddy. Honestly, really funny. His name is Daddy. I don't know if that was planned, but it's going to be a running joke the entire season. So, yeah. Anything else on the live updates?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Really proud of the league. We're surprisingly growing up fast, and it's pretty cool to see everyone grow up and move out and get older and be mature. So, pretty cool. All right, now we'll move into the league updates. So, we had everyone at the draft. Grant dropped the picture in. Really cool flag. Thank you, Mike and Zach, for hosting. Very fun. I'm sad me and Jarvis both were only able to be there for a couple hours.
Yep.
But I know the weekend was really fun for everyone. Let's see. We had a couple votes, and we'll just go back and forth on these. So we voted for no more keepers.
Thank goodness, man.
Yeah, I that was a lot more lopsided vote than I thought. But it created such a disparity in the draft. So I'm completely fine with that one. You can take the next one.
Yeah, so the next thing that we kind of talked about was implementing a 17-week season. And as part of that, we actually talked about having a 2-week championship. Jake, who were the only people that voted for this 2-week championship?
So Holmes, which no surprise, Holmes is always against the grain. Cole, also no surprise, he's just kind of oblivious. And Cece, the people's rep, going... he was representing 2 other people. That's not my people's rep.
Yeah, there might be word on the street. He might be out of a job here pretty soon. if this is the kind of representation that he's giving the people in the league. So
very interesting, but we ended up going with the 14-week in-season and 3-week postseason. So no 2-week championship. And then big thing that I did not know about going into the draft, but we voted on kickers. And if you were saying kickers now, you probably think, oh yeah, we probably got rid of them. Nope, we buffed them. Changed the scoring, made them stronger. Grant is probably fuming. Don't cut this part out. And yeah, what are your thoughts?
I really don't understand I still don't really know why we did it. I'm going to be honest, it's probably somebody in the league, Grant, sorry. They got beat by a kicker for no reason, and they're just wanting to change things up. I totally respect it. But I didn't really see the point in taking a vote about it. But yeah, that's
classic Jarvis right there. And then lastly, we have divisions, which unfortunately are nameless at the moment. But our division is me, Jarvis, Noah, and Cole, which I think is the strongest division. We also have Division 2 of Brandon, Cece, Matt, and Mike. And then the third one is Grant, Holmes, Zach, Ethan. So be interesting to see how those play out. Who are your favorite picks? Your number one seeds in each division.
In each division, I'm gonna have in our division. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Noah.
Oh, really? I thought he was gonna go with a homer pick of Jarvis.
No, I know my place. It's all right, guys. Next division, I mean, it's hard to pick against Brandon, the commissioner. Although he is in 12th right now, so what does that tell you? And then the last one, I mean, Ethan. I don't have anything to say about Ethan, but he is the best in that division.
Yeah. So next up, we'll move on to the draft results.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the draft results. So according to Yahoo, Ethan had the best draft and Mike had the worst draft. Jake, what are your thoughts on those draft ratings?
I'll start with Mike real quick. Mike was very disappointed in Yahoo. He thought he was like middle of the pack, which honestly, his team's pretty good. I'll give him that, but I don't know. Sad to see him get last. I think the keepers really hurt him there with Jefferson, and he was picking 12, but that's fine. I think he won this week, so I have nothing bad to say.
He did not.
He did not win, so he's on the come up, though. Ethan, on the other hand, so that's 2 years in a row with best draft. He's coming off a championship win. I just miss Ethan being bad, honestly. Like, he's just tricked us. He won in, I don't know, 2015 maybe, and then he went 3 years losing, or not losing, but just not making playoffs. Irrelevant. No one was worried about him. Storms onto the scene after taking a lot of grief last year. Wins the championship, and now it's unanimous best in the league.
Yeah, for some reason, I always kind of considered Ethan on the same level as myself, that is not a compliment in any way. And for some reason, just in looking back, I've been like, wow, he's actually done pretty well, and kind of has been a little bit slept on, I'm not going to lie.
And the worst part is, like, people outside the league, they're like, no surprise, Ethan's the best. That hurts me the most. Like, how do people outside the league just randomly think Ethan's the best?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know. Tough scene, but it's what it is. He is very good, and his team is scary this year. So I sent this in the group message, but I wanted to recap it for the people outside the league that care very much about the league. So we had, in the draft, we had some players drafted from the same team in the same position, like 1 to 3 spots apart. And it's going to be really interesting to see where those receivers, that's what mainly they are going to finish at the end of the year. So the first one was I took CeeDee Lamb, and right after, Ethan took Amari Cooper with the tilt pick. So right now, Cooper, he scored way more. He's actually the wide receiver 1 on the year. But Jarvis, who would you pick?
Honestly, I'd have to go with CeeDee Lamb. He's a little bit more electric, but just in watching that Cowboys-Bucks game, if he can figure out how to catch a football, he would have outscored Cooper, I think. He had about 5 or 6 drops. I think he had 9 all of last season. He had 5 in the first week. Dak threw the ball, I think, probably close to 50, 60 times in week 1, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes moving forward.
Yeah, fingers crossed for CD. We'll just fly through these, but Evans and Godwin were taken, I think, back-to-back. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods were taking a couple picks apart. We'll stop at this one. Higgins and Chase on the Bengals.
Jamar Chase, baby. Look, he was complaining all offseason. A report came out that he was having trouble catching the football because he couldn't see the ball because there were no white lines. I think he dropped a cool 21 in week 1, so obviously he didn't have any trouble catching the football.
I really think that whole entire story was made up. I think Chase was just messing with the reporter, and
I bought into it. I was a little scared, but he proved himself for sure.
And then we have Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, clear winner right now. And then Chenault and Chark.
Who even are those receivers, honestly? Like, is Jacksonville even a real team this year? That's the question that needs to be asked.
They will go 0-17. Or should I say 0-16 with
Urban
a tie.
Meyer will not be their head coach past week 4.
Wow.
Write it down.
That's a take. That's a take. All right, next up, we'll move into week one. Week one.
Okay, football is back. The red zone is back. Fantasy is back. We had a lot of great games. Week one, just kicking it right off with the Super Bowl defending champions against the boys back home.
Great game.
Yeah, it was, honestly, probably the best Thursday night game of the season.
They're generally really slow games and
Right.
not very high scoring, and this one was... It brought me back to the feels of the Rams-Chiefs in 2018.
Right. Somehow we were able to dive headfirst back into football, and then we kind of tapered off a little bit. Those 12 o'clock games, nothing really to write home about. But the game started picking up at 3 again. We had a great matchup between the Chiefs and the Browns that actually went into overtime. Actually, it didn't go into overtime. It was just a great game.
Yeah.
The Ravens and the Raiders, however, did go into overtime. And if you were able to watch it, it was kind of a roller coaster of emotions type of game. And then, honestly, the biggest game of the weekend, I would have to say, was in that Rams-Bears game. Matt Nagy is a dud. I don't really know what's going through his mind there. Just start your rookie, man. You know that it's going to take some time, but just put him out there.
And Fields looked good for the couple plays he was in.
He did. He had like a maybe 12 yards, but he had a nice rushing touchdown, like a triple option type thing. So it was really nice to see him. Also, interesting to note, Matthew Stafford, I thought, looked amazing on the Rams. He looked great in the blue and yellow. It was actually nice for him to actually have some offensive weapons, aside from Calvin Johnson, of course, on the lines. But it was good to see him actually have more than one player on his team. Just a straight dagger about 40 seconds into the game on a 73-yard touchdown.
It made me so happy seeing Matt Stafford be successful in the NFL and have a good team around him. Also, the Rams, way too much yellow. Too much yellow on their jerseys. It's too bright. There's too much in the stadium. If for all the fans listening out there, let's make a change.org. Change it to a softer yellow.
More importantly, actually both of us are huge believers in that man from Florida State. He put on an absolute clinic. Brandon, I am sorry that you went to that game, but oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, we meant to talk about that. Brandon drove 6 hours to Jacksonville to see the Packers and the Saints play.
He just happened to see the Packers play the best quarterback in the NFL.
The Packers lost 38-3 to the Saints, and Jameis put up some numbers.
I think he only had about 148 passing yards, but he had 5 touchdowns.
He had 14 completions and 5 touchdowns.
That is called efficiency, people.
that is efficiency.
So,
I wish great success on Jameis Winston, one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL.
Eat it up.
Okay, so last week before the week started, I sent out a poll to everyone, and you could pick who you thought was going to win or who you wanted to win. And big note there was Jarvis got 0 votes, and I got 11 votes. And also, he just exposed himself for not voting on it.
Yeah, I didn't
you
vote.
You would vote for yourself. But 11-0. But, Jackson, you can go ahead and tell us the result of that game.
Yeah, I won. Everybody knows my history. Everybody knows I like to start off the season 1-0. And,
Sammy Watkins.
I proved again. It's just... If you're playing me week 1, you might as well put an L in your column over there. It's an automatic win for me.
I am really sad about that. It was disappointing to watch my team fall apart after a great Thursday night performance, but it is what it is. So I did lose to Jarvis. One of the biggest blowout of the week was Matt versus Brandon. Matt scored 213 points and Brandon barely scraped above 100. Next up was Ethan and Grant. Ethan won that matchup. And we have Holmes versus Zach. Zach took the dub there. CC versus Mike, which is a very funny rivalry. We've just seen over and over Mike just creating, in his words, spicy relationships with the league members. And for some reason, every time, it's just like sour and like a huge rivalry anytime you're playing Mike.
Yeah, as Mike's official rival, there isn't really a huge step down between me and Mike's rivalry versus whoever Mike is playing each week. So just kind of an interesting dynamic in the league. So.
Yeah, fun to watch, though, nonetheless. And then last matchup is Noah versus Cole, which I think that's like an old rivalry, too. But
Yeah, they were definitely
Noah
playing
won.
for more than fantasy on that one.
Yeah, so Jarvis, Gooses of the Week.
Yeah, I mean, Jake, I was fortunate enough to actually play Jake, who had 2 gooses on his team. Just a whole flock of geese coming in on the other side.
What a disappointment. Mike Gesicki was 0, Russell Gage was 0, and my defense and kicker combined for like 5 points. And Jarvis's both, I think it was above 10 for each. Like,
Yeah.
that's just that's bad management on me. Hand up, I'm a bad manager. I think we need to have what do you call it? The locker room talk or something. I don't know. Something needs to happen.
And then just gonna fly through these. Rojo, who had a
Ronald Jones
negative
had
point
negative
6.
points.
Yeah, I mean, and then Terry Potter, Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, that was really disappointing. He was supposed to have a breakout year, and he just started off with a straight 0.
And I don't know who said it, but Ayuk kidding me. Really funny name, Mike. You should consider changing that.
Honorable mention: Aaron Rodgers, 1.32. I thought he was going to go on a revenge tour this season. Clearly not. I don't really know what's up there. I think there are actually theories around the NFL, or maybe I've just seen this on Twitter. Aaron Rodgers is on the hunt to literally sabotage the Packers season just because he wants to get out of there so bad.
Ooh, I kind of like that narrative.
Just kind of an interesting take. So
The worst part about it is I play Aaron Rodgers next week, and I was listening to a podcast, and they said usually after Aaron Rodgers puts up a dud week, he just goes off. So that's something to look forward to for this week. We do have 2 new, and I guess these are the founding members of the GG11 200-point club. Cheetah King, which is Matt with 213.76 points. I didn't fact check this, but that's got to be one of the highest point totals in the modern era of GG that I've ever seen. That was nuts. And then also Cece squeaking it out with 200.12 points. Justin Tucker, last minute, I think. He also had one of the running backs in that game. But honestly, I did not see that one coming. Cece, good for you. Might be your year. Also, no one in the 100-point club. Not surprising because bye weeks haven't kicked in. But anyway. All right. So I have some interesting stats to go over. I looked at the relationship of teams that make it to playoffs based on their week 1 wins and losses. So the winners of this week, in GG10, so last year, the winners of week 1 were Ethan, Cole, Brandon, Zach, Jarvis, and Noah. Jarvis always winning week 1, nice. The people who made playoffs, again, Ethan, Cole, Brandon, Zach, but CC and Jake made playoffs, and they did not win their week 1. Takeaways, so I look back, since 2017, 4 complete seasons, 4 of the 6 teams that went 1-0 made playoffs, and 2 that started 0-1 also made playoffs. And then also, depressing stat for the people who lost, of the 7 of the 10 years, the fantasy championship went 1-0. So if you were 0-1, you are not looking good. I don't know why I'm looking at you. I'm the loser here. You're not looking good at making the championship. But my question to you, Jarvis, of the 6 teams that went 1-0, 4, we're just going to say from history, 4 of those made playoffs and 2 didn't. So who are you taking out of the top 6 and putting in from the bottom? I know that's kind of hard because I don't have them ranked here.
Look, all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that was terrible. I don't have them listed off, but
In week 1, I actually did a little research on myself just to kind of hype myself up a little bit. I don't think I've lost a week 1 since 2016. So actually, what Jake was just talking about, dating back to 2017, yeah, of those 4 of 6 teams, I'm always one of the 2 odd men out.
Yeah, it is.
So I really need to get it figured out. I mean, obviously, I'm going to throw myself. I'm making playoffs this year.
So you're already in. So I'll just help you out because I don't have a list. I should have done that. But
yeah.
I would put in from the 0-1 teams to put in. I would put Cole. Somehow always starts bad and then comes back and he has a great team at the end. And then I'm gonna put myself. Little sleeper pick though. I would put Mike. He actually has turned around a couple of seasons and he has a championship. So I'll put him in. And then out from the top 6, I'm taking out CC and Zach. I don't really remember why. I think Zach has a really young team, and they might be volatile. I don't know. But I'm keeping Jarvis in. I think he's going to make playoffs this year. Seriously. And then also, I'm just updating the stats from last year. The week 1 all time. Brandon, first loss ever week 1. So he's now 10-1. Jarvis, the second best at 6-3. CC 7-4 now. Matt and Zach are tied at 4-3. I dropped to 6-5. Can't swim 4-5. Losing record, surprising. Mike 3-4. Grant 3-5. Holmes 4-7. Noah 3-6, and Cole the disastrous 2-7 all time week 1. That is terrible, but it's terrible in relationship to how good he's actually like really good.
Yeah, somehow Cole managed. Actually, not somehow. Cole's good at fantasy. He manages to figure it out for the rest of the season. And obviously, these stats don't mean anything because I'm ranked as the second best week 1, and look how that's turned out for me. But I'm trying to turn things around.
Yeah. But so Jarvis, I got one last question for this segment. What are your overreactions for week 1? Do you have any teams that are stand out? Like, there's no chance they're that good. I know you didn't pay attention too much to the other matchups, but like, do you think Matt's 213 is sustainable? Is his team ready for that? Or who do you think? Who's the sleeper of the year besides yourself?
I mean, look, I'm always going to give myself the sleeper pick of the year. Everybody in the league loves sleeping on me. Just sleep right away. I'm going to slide in right there at the 6th seed. Don't even worry about it. But yeah, Matt scoring 213. I mean, he's not going to touch that ever again. He probably won't even touch 175 for the rest of the season. So sorry, Matt. You got really lucky week 1. Brandon, that's the other thing. Brandon got really unlucky. I mean, I think he scored 112, 114 week 1. He's supposed to be one of those, top tier guys in this league.
Supposed to be.
And,
alleged.
So we'll just kind of see how that pans out for him. But those are kind of the only two that stand out to me.
And my take of the year is I think Noah's going to have a down year. I think he's going to be distracted with family matters. And I think he's also really busy at work. He's probably got a promotion. I know he's got a promotion by now, so.
I have a take.
Okay, go ahead.
I think this is the
Just had to warm him up.
I think this is the year of the engaged, married.
Oh, the year of the
whatever.
Singies.
Yeah. Singy summer, baby. Come on now. Or whatever. So.
Trouble is coming.
I'm going to throw myself, Jake.
Okay.
Jake has a girlfriend. Anyway. Myself, Jake,
still single,
CB.
In the eyes of the law, I am single. Okay, we'll keep going.
Okay,
CC,
so,
Cole,
yes.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Jack Bennett,
so,
probably.
Look, bottom line, if you and your significant other, if she has a ring on her finger, I think this might be a down trending year for you. That's all I'm going to say about that. I have no evidence or support for that claim. But that's just what I'm feeling this year. So
wow, looking at it, I think there's 7. There's 7 people with rings. So looks like one of you lucky guys are gonna be.
I mean, it's gonna be the one with the
married.
GG air for sure. I mean, that's just how it is. He's the outlier. So.
All right, so now we'll move on to why we play fantasy. So this past week, I was like, why do I play fantasy? It doesn't bring me any happiness. It ruins my week. And really the only fun part about it is talking about fantasy with other guys and girls and thinking about, oh, yes, I have football to watch this week. So we polled the league, why do you play fantasy? Wrong answers only. And Jarvis is going to read these off. I've seen most of them, but these will probably be real reactions from Jarvis.
So
should be pretty interesting.
Let's see. So first up we have... It gives me a good reason to watch all the games that I normally wouldn't be as interested in.
I think the title of this was Wrong Answers Only, and that is a right answer. So
actually, that is definitely from Zach, because he's a hockey guy. Thank you.
You might be right.
Okay. I don't know who is submitting these.
Neither do I.
Kind of
Some
taking
of them
some
have
guesses.
names.
Okay, so next up we have, I joined because the people on my Minecraft server kept talking about it 11 years ago, and now I don't know how to get out.
Oh, it's Holmes. That's really funny.
This next one, for the second place trophies.
You can guess who that one is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he doesn't talk about it every time we're at the draft, so.
Fun fact, we actually have a second place group message. It's me, Zach, Matt, and Cece.
Yeah.
And Cece's the one who said that.
Next up, to hide under my bed.
That was me. It wasn't that funny. I was just testing it and throwback to when I hit it under the bed when Kareem Hunt scored 3 touchdowns.
Okay. I'm a huge Texans fan, and this is finally our year for fantasy dominance.
I don't know. That's not that funny.
Look,
good try. It's probably Noah.
That's probably Noah. But if you look across the general fantasy realm, there's no chance that someone took a Texans player before round 8 in any draft ever.
That might be accurate. I would love to.
You can fact check that. I'm just kind of pulling that one out of nowhere.
Brandon Cooks is probably the first.
So next, to listen to Ethan freak out when he scores less than 170.
Yes, Ethan is always complaining about how his team isn't performing, and he's getting like 190.
Yeah, so...
Not looking forward to listening to that again this year. That's too bad.
On the opposite side, however, someone said to put Ethan in his place. First?
That is fun.
I mean, he got first.
He did get first, but it is fun beating... That's actually a great point. It is really fun playing fantasy and beating your friends.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's just a competitive way. It just sucks losing, but it is fun winning.
And someone said, I play fantasy to post my draft results on Sleeper forums so that people can praise my roster. Sleeper, hint, hint. Who do you think talked about that one?
Grant.
Next we have to cope with my crippling gambling addiction.
That was Jarvis, and that is pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's just trying to spice things up a little bit. Then the last one we have, I only play fantasy football because it was the quickest route to becoming a YouTube sensation. And then... Shout out to Fantasy Football Forever, one of the greatest songs ever written. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell on the screen. So, last, we're going to kind of go through the Week 2 matchups, and I'll go ahead and hand it over to Jake.
All right, the first matchup is Jarvis versus Noah.
This is a 6 versus a 3 matchup.
Very helpful. I did not know that. I'm going to go with Jarvis. Again, like I said earlier, Noah on the down year. So
yeah, I mean... You're out of your mind if you think I'm betting against myself.
This is coming after he said the best person in our division is Noah about 20 minutes ago.
Noah described our division as cake. The division of myself, Jake, and CB. And I just want to kick things off and, give him that 1-1 record right off the bat. So
I really like the division idea. I am genuinely gonna grow to really not like Jarvis, Noah, and Cole in fantasy. It's gonna be really fun to look back in a couple years and see like where we were at then. But I think we have a very competitive division.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Thank
so you're
you.
taking yourself.
Yeah, of course. All right, next matchup we have is CC, the People's Rep, versus B. Scotty, the Commissioner. Jake, who are you taking in this one?
As a quote from Holmes last year. My gut says Brandon, but my heart says CC. My gut says Brandon because he had such a bad week last week.
Yeah, he's coming off of like 114, 116. CC broke 200.
Yeah, it's just so flipped. Brandon does not get last or does not stay in last, and CC does not break 200 and does not stay in second. He is in second right now. That's really funny.
Yeah.
So he's just bound to fall off his throne if he's sitting in second right now. So I'll take Brandon.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Brandon. It's just the most CC thing ever to be at the top and to be humbled right out of the gate. Sorry, man.
Classic. Next up, we have Holmes versus Grant. Little subtle rivalry there. I'm looking forward to this matchup. What do you got?
I'm going to have to go with Holmes. I'll just pick the underdog. Holmes is the 11 seed in this matchup. Grant is the 8. I don't really know anything about either of their teams. I'm not going to lie. But I'm just going to go with Holmes.
I'm also going Holmes for one reason. He has Pitts. And everyone says not everyone in our league, but people are saying Pitts was drafted too high. I think it was worth, the 6th round pick that Holmes had on him. And I think it's going to pan out this week. Bounce back for the Falcons.
The next matchup that we have is Ethan versus Zach. This is a 5 versus 4.
I don't know. Earlier I said Zach, he has a young team, and it's going to be volatile. But I could see him booming this week. I'm taking Zach. Zaggy.
I'm going to have to go with Ethan. Time and time again, Ethan has showed, don't ever count him out. Don't ever sleep on him.
Also, my pick has to do with I just want Ethan to be bad. It's so much fun seeing Ethan not in playoffs and not on the top of the charts. But anyway, it's probably just fueling him. it's probably like great to hear everyone complain that he's so good.
Yeah.
What can go wrong, Ethan, right? All right, next up is CB versus myself. I'm going to take myself, even though I don't have much confidence in my team right now. Actually, I don't have confidence in my management style. I really let myself down last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Jake on this one. I just think that he's coming in at the 7th seed. He's the highest ranked 0-1 team. And yeah, I mean, I think that they definitely had some chatter in the locker room after the game, and we had
a players meeting. I wasn't included, but my players had a players meeting.
Yeah, I think that what he does in the clubhouse, they do something special in there, so they're definitely going to turn around in week 2. So
Good to hear. And then lastly, we have Matt versus Mike. What do you got? I got to think about this one.
I'm gonna have to go with
1 seed versus 9 seed.
I'll go with Matt. I mean he had a great week 1, 213, probably one of the highest scoring weeks ever. And I'm gonna have to pick Matt on this one. Mike is my rival, so I will never choose him. That's the basis for my argument there. So.
Mike, I really do love you, but his team is great. His draft was great, and last week proved it. And I really don't see him losing this one. Yeah, I think that's a clear win there for Matt. But is that all we have?
Yeah, that's about it for week 1.
All right, thank you for listening. I know this was kind of long, but I hope the content was enjoyable. Like and subscribe in the bottom left-hand corner, and we will see you guys next week.